Hello, everybody. This is me, Jennifer McCrae, your J Shrink, and today I'm going to do a story that's very prevalent in the headlines now, but it's from a different viewpoint or different perspective. And the title of this it has to do with Britney Spears. The title is this: Is the Britney Spears conservatorship a disability rights issue? So we want to know if we're not talking about, it's not done from the case of a lawyer or legal uh, perspective or from a journalism viewpoint. It's done from the perspective of myself, a psychological professional and a mental health disability advocate. I also used to be an ADA compliance officer, specializing in those with mental illness. Before I start this, I will discuss the Britney Spears dilemma by getting the case that really got this going. It was called the Jenny Hatch case. It set the precedent for guardianship. Okay, basically, there was a 29-year-old young lady named Jenny Hatch, and she had Down syndrome, and her parents put her under temporary guardianship, hoping to make it permanent. So they got rid of her by, under the temporary guardianship by putting her into a group home, which she was more fully functioning than the others. So she didn't like the group home because she was, more functional. She could do more things, and the other people, they were, low intelligence and low abilities. So they call this the Jenny Hatch movement, the Jenny Hatch case. It was called Justice for Jenny movement. And it showed how it became the first example of a conservatee, which is Jenny, to win her freedom on August the 7th, 2013. She was granted supportive decision making. Okay. You might wonder what supportive decision making is. Well, I'm sorry, I thought my camera stopped. You may wonder what supportive decision making is. It's a decision making plan with different people in your life who will help you when you need assistance. And that's the thing I think that will happen to Britney. I hope it happens to Britney. Okay, so we'll discuss what a conservatorship is. In most states, it's called a guardianship. In Los Angeles, it's called a conservatorship, a probate conservatorship. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a psychological professional and a mental health professional. It's called a probate conservatorship, and it serves as a legal solution for an adult who is deemed to be incapable of taking care of themselves. Usually, that means it's older, your elderly parents or relatives who can't do anything, can't make any decisions, can't dress themselves, can't feed themselves, can't use the bathroom anywhere. So that's what it is. That's what conservatorship was. That was the group, the target group it was made of. Britney, however, was 28 and allegedly had mild dementia. And that's a huge question for me. A 28-year-old with with mild dementia. A 28-year-old with mild dementia, uh, that's unheard of. The youngest age for people with mild dementia is in their 50s. And when they have Alzheimer's and dementia, moderate to severe, usually in their uh, late 60s, 70s, and 80s. So this was just planted on her. And I'm going to read to you some of the things that they say mild dementia does, which is what one of the diagnoses that they label Britney with. Okay, the signs of mild dementia, and you're not going to believe it. The first is memory loss. Memory loss that affects your day-to-day activities. That means you can't do anything, just running around like a little baby, like a little kind of toddler or something like that. Can't dress yourself, can't eat. We just talked about that. And this is another stupid one. Difficulty concentrating. Now, how on earth could she put on all those shows and everything and and um and maintain her professional career and be successful in it if she couldn't concentrate? She wouldn't be able to do her dancing. She wouldn't be able to oversee her backup dancers. She wouldn't be able to work with her work with all the people that she worked with if she had this if she concentrate. She couldn't concentrate on her routine, in other words, which is something that she's known for. Difficulty conform difficulty performing familiar tasks. This is the stupidest one of all. This girl has been in showbiz. She's been dancing and singing since she was a child. And if she's able to put on shows and still do her dancing, write her songs, do her choreography, oversee and manage her shows, do 40 a 4-year residency in Las Vegas, and over 200 shows and performances and tours, then she's able to do familiar tasks. I mean, they want her money, but she's not able to do her tasks. And she's doing her task and making bank out of her. So this is ridiculous. This should have been done by a clinical neuropsychologist, not just a psychiatrist, because a clinical neuropsychiatrist, they can get to the mental health impairments at its smallest, that is most infinite, to the most severe. They have special tests, like 2 to 4 hour tests that they give you to test your memory. So obviously they skipped the clinical neuropsychologist and went to a psychiatrist of Jamie's choices. And it says confused by time and space. If she's working all the time, she's working 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. Yeah, she's going to get confused about time and space because she's going to be tired. When you're tired, you get confused. Okay, the last one is mood changes. And everyone has those. And if she's working all the time, she's tired, she's frustrated, she wants her me time, as they call it. Her moods are going to change. That's just natural. And the other thing that they allege that they put Britney under, that they diagnosed Britney with, they allegedly diagnosed Britney with, is bipolar disorder. And I know infinitely about this disorder because I have it. And she had, those breakdowns when she was overworked and she was overexposed, and her business was put out in the public through the use of paparazzi, uh, tabloids, and the social media. She was always followed. Every little step she made, as Sting would say, every little breath she take, I'll be watching you. They were watching her all the time. And when she was tired, or if she had bipolar disorder, in bipolar disorder, you go through they call what they call euthymia. That's just your regular baseline personality. Then you go up to hypomania. This is probably where they saw Britney when she was at her best, when she was a teenager. So she did her best. She had her records were all over the place. Her tours were very exotic and unique. And then she got to mania, where she was probably, people with mania usually overspend, have impulse control problems, financial problems, we said, doing things like going out and buying a 500,000 Lamborghini, giving away money, just anything, just hyper. And then it goes down until you get depressed. And she was probably depressed during some of that time that the paparazzi was following her. And for bipolar disorder, you don't put, unless you're looking for money, you don't put a person in a conservatorship when they just have bipolar disorder, okay? Because there are a lot of functioning people, executives, CEOs who have bipolar disorder, okay? So, I'm going to go into the I talked about bipolar disorder, mild mania, mild dementia, and Alzheimer's. If she didn't have much money, they wouldn't even waste their time doing that. And so we're going to talk about her where she was born. Britney Jean Spears was born on December 2nd, 1981, in Macomb, Mississippi, to James Parnell Spears and Lynn Spears. And she also has two siblings, an older brother, Brian, who was taking up for a family real hard when I was researching this, and I was looking at one of his interviews. And the younger sister, Jamie Lynn, who's lying and covering up. And she had her own show on Disney called Zoe. So Britney has been in the entertainment business since she was a child. When she started with the revamped Mickey Mouse Club, she sang and she danced. And you know what Mickey Mouse Club was like in the 50s. This was the 90s version. By the time she was a teen, she was a sensation. She had her songs, "Baby, Do It One More Time," "Oops, I Done It Again," "Oops, I Done It Again." That gave her worldwide fame, glory, celebrity, Grammys, and other awards. Okay. Ooh, I done it. And she grew up in a sheltered environment, a sheltered, misogynist, patriarchal environment. And she had said that her father had problems with alcohol and emotional and emotional abuse. That's the word it is. So she was estranged from her father when by the time she was on her own doing those songs, and her mother then had divorced him, so he wasn't in her life around that time. And they said that he was controlled. He was very tight, controlling, and in an enmeshed family where Britney was the star. Okay, in psychology, in a enmeshed family, there are no boundaries between the family members. Instead, they pick out the scapegoat, the star, which is Britney. In an enmeshed family, we talked about that. Instead of there being boundaries and well-functioning abilities in the family, the Spears family was fused together by unhealthy emotions, with her father being alleged alcoholic, especially Britney, in which her father became over-reliant on her, and she was not allowed to be an individual separate from the family. And she was not able to form her own identity. So even though they were estranged, that's the way the family was. They call it enmeshed. Okay. So we talked about she had the mental breakdowns when she got in her 20s, and she just started to unravel because of all the fame. You know, when you get famous, they like to put you up there. She was up there, and then they brought her down. Okay, so she started having symptoms, mental illness symptoms, and she started having major breakdowns. One of them where she shaved her head, y'all remember that. And the other one where she was followed by paparazzi, and she started hitting the paparazzi's car with an umbrella because she was tired. I mean, at one period, it was all negative Britney. Paparazzi was after her when she went in her states. Tabloids reported on every little move she made. And even the up and coming social media, it's not like it was then now, but it was gaining momentum. It documented every little mistake, every little breakdown that Britney made. So she became fodder for them during her psychiatric holds. And she was placed, I think, under 3 psychiatric holds, I'm not quite sure, by her father. And during one of those psychiatric holds, he was trying to gain conservatorship of her being. Jamie was said to be in the hospital for alcoholic rehab while he was trying to gain conservatorship for Britney. And Britney didn't know because she was in the hospital. So he managed to get, I guess, better by rehab, by his standards. And secretly, he worked with his lawyer, Andrew Ward, to set up for her to be a conservator, and for him and the lawyer to get the money from Britney, saying that she was incapable of doing anything. Okay. Excuse me. They appointed her attorney, known as James Ingham. The court appointed a judge, And I mean, the court appointed, the judge appointed a special uh, lawyer for her. So she didn't get to choose her own lawyer, the judge. And the judge, she made so many different rulings against her till I'm thinking that something shady was going on between the judge, Britney, and the and the lawyer. Now that's my feeling now, because she was supposed to undergo conservatorship, um, conservatorship eligibility every year, but they stopped doing that and they just kept on. Okay. So under her father, Britney's basic rights were completely stripped from her. Some of the things she wasn't allowed to do was to keep her best friends. She was isolated from her best friends. Her father, she was not allowed to manage her finances. We said the father did that. She couldn't do her personal day-to-day activities without her father's friend who served as her assistant, Jody Montgomery. And then she ended up acting up, having her meltdowns. She was forced to undergo an involuntary surgical procedure. It was like a temporary sterilization, so she didn't have reproductive freedom. She was forced to wear an IUD, contraceptive device, and an IUD is a device placed in the cervix of the woman into the uterus to prevent the person from becoming pregnant. And this was done every 4 to 6 weeks. So she had to endure gynecology visits and getting the IUD put in from her to her cervix to her uterus. So if she had sex, and she did have a boyfriend, I don't know, somehow they allowed her to have a boyfriend. So they took away her reproductive freedom, and she wanted to get married and have children. So she wasn't able to do that. And she said the psychiatrist, which she didn't like, put her on so many medications till she felt like she was drunk or drugged when she was during some of her tours and performances. So the side effects were horrific for her, but she still had to work 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. Now, this is interesting. She was fully capable of managing, writing her songs, doing choreography for her shows. She was also able to we talked about the residency in Las Vegas. She did 200 performances and tours. And she served even a stint as a judge on the TV show The X Factor. But they were monitoring her while she did all that, and also when she did interviews. And Britney said she was scared to speak up for herself because she may be retaliated, since her father continuously and viciously gaslighted her by, so, he would tell her things like what she said. He told her things like she was fat, she needed to lose weight, she was a slut, and she couldn't do anything. So that's gaslighting, making you feel that you were crazy when you're not, So, and they call those mind games, regular people, but we call it gaslighting in the field of psychology. So, she was making her daddy was making $16,000 a week off her. He also made $130,000 a year for her. And he also got 1.5 millions of her um of her of her revenues for every show she did. So she was daddy's cash cow. And the lawyer, who didn't know anything about conservatorship, who was just appointed by the court, he didn't do anything to try to tell her her rights about conservatorship, what a conservatorship was, how she can change conservators, how she can terminate a conservator. He didn't do any of that. He just banked $500,000 a year. This woman was worth $60 million. So they saw dollar signs and abuse. Okay. So, Jamie, he looked like a grifter, making his daughter perform when she had temperatures up to 100 and 104, she said. So she performed when she was sick, well, whatever. Okay. And in between that, she said she had to go to the psychiatrist 3 times a week. And she was seen by the paparazzi going to the psychiatrist's office. So you know that stuff all came out on the tabloids and the paparazzi and the social media. Now, the most disturbing thing about this was Britney was only given an allowance of $8,000 a week. Her daddy, who did nothing, he got $16,000 a week. So she was only allotted a small portion of her own money. All her money had to pay for her father, her lawyers, any court papers, any legal documents. It came out of her $60 million fortune. So while she still couldn't pick her own clothes. She had Jody Montgomery to help her pick the clothes. So, and she also had a fragrance line in addition to her shows and her tours and her performances. But she tried to get her father removed, even without the lawyer being totally ignorant of how to do a conservatorship, but to no avail. Now, finally, they set a date for July 14th for Britney to get a new lawyer of her own choice. And so Britney was delighted, and so around the 14th, she selected her own attorney. He was successful former prosecutor named Matthew Rosengard. And he said that his first task was to get Jamie Spears removed as her conservator, and then focus on terminating the conservatorship altogether. And you know what he did? And he recently did that. He pulled out them guns. He set a court motion to get Jamie Spears removed as her principal guardian, I think, and a conservator. So, and he also found papers about the money that he spent on himself and his friends that he doled out to. And poor Britney was only getting $8,000 a week. He was getting $16,000 then 100,000, then 1.5% of her revenue. So the lawyer, Mr. Rosengard, he did all that. He said that he was going to work expeditiously and expeditiously and what's another word for that? And wholeheartedly to get him off and to get her terminated. So he did manage to get court papers finding out his misuse of money, giving people money and taking that money. That's Britney's. Poor Britney had to pay everything, even her $8,000 a week allowance, and it was just sad. But I have a from a psychological viewpoint, we talked about the Jenny Hass Justice for Jenny case, the Down syndrome girl who who was put in the group home and won her case in 2013. And we talked about the supportive decision making, where you put specific people in your life so that they can help you make better decisions. So you basically do like a plan, some type of plan, decision behavior plan with the people that Brittany would pick. Okay, not the ones that her father had, but the ones she would work in conjunction with her lawyer to get these people set up for if she needed help or if she was in a crisis or whatever. So, in my opinion, I think she should have an accountant or financial manager that looks after her, a personal assistant. She said she liked Jody Montgomery, but she probably was saying that because she was, afraid. She needs a psychiatrist that she can trust, because she said she hated that psychiatrist and she was happy when he died. And her own psychotherapist, where she can talk about her emotional baggage, her moods, her exhaustion, just everything that's going on in her life. It could be a counselor, social worker, whatever, and an agent manager that she picks. She and regaining her reproductive freedom, not being forced to wear an IUD and getting it changed every month or so, and the freedom to marry her boyfriend. I don't know, they let her have a boyfriend, so I guess that's why they put the IUD in, and to gain her reproductive freedom. And have kids. She wants to marry and have children. Freedom to take vacations when she was tired. Her dad didn't allow her to take vacations when she was tired. I'm just gonna play a little sample of Britney during that July 14th. She was very nervous, but she wanted to get her point across. So I'm going to play the audio for what she said during that July 14th hearing. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta turn it on first. I gotta turn it on first, y'all. Hold up. Hold up, y'all. Hold up. Okay, so here it is.
I've lied and told the whole world I'm okay and I'm happy. It's a lie. I thought maybe I said that enough. Maybe I might become happy because I've been in denial. I've been in shock. I am traumatized. Fake it till you make it. But now I'm telling you the truth, okay? I'm not happy. I can't sleep. I'm so angry, it's insane, and I'm depressed. I cry every day, and the reason I'm telling you this is because I don't think how the state of California can have all this written in the court documents from the time I showed up and do absolutely nothing. Just hire with my money another person to keep my dad on board.
Okay, so that was Britney during the July 14 court appearance. She was making a Zoom, a Zoom, a Zoom court appearance, I guess you can call it. So afterward, when she got her attorney, so she was happy. She was turning flips. She could drive again. She was free again. And I was happy for her because I liked her when she was young. I was young back then too. Oops, you did it again. I gotta stop that. Okay, and they set up during that time that the father had total custody of Britney. All her fans and well-meaners got together and forged a movement called Free Britney Spears or Free Britney, where they all got together and protested, marched, wrote letters, uh, got got notifications to get her case before the Congress, and I'll read about that in just a minute. So they were influential in getting Britney's case pushed